Welcome to the channel. In today's video, I wanted to take a look at the body cam footage from the Sonya Massey shooting. I want to look at it through the perspective of a medical professional who specializes in mental health. I have worked extensively with people with schizophrenia and various other disorders. I've also de-escalated people a lot. And in the environments I worked, like a crisis center or a residential setting, we didn't have security. So we definitely did a lot of de-escalation. And if we couldn't de-escalate people, we did call the police. We would call 911 just like everybody else, but in the meantime, in those minutes before the police would show up, we would basically de-escalate people till we were blue in the face. And I think a lot of times whenever it's your own physical safety on the line and you don't have security to fall back on, you just really do get a chance to hone in on the de-escalation skills and get into those subtle little nuances of things that can really make or break a good interaction with somebody. Having said that too, I have worked a lot with the police at the crisis center, especially. I've seen the police work extremely well with people with mental health issues, which honestly, when I went into it, I wasn't expecting that. But I did see the police work really effectively with people with mental health issues. And of course, within any group of people, I think you're always going to have people who are mediocre and you're going to have people maybe who make situations worse. But I really didn't see that too often in my experience. I'll also say too, in my private life, I have had issues with a particular police department. So I know kind of the fear of that. I can say, being on units with people with severe mental health issues who are also sex offenders. I mean, there were nights when I was very afraid that I might be attacked and the very real fear of that. And to deal with police officers that you think might be corrupt, that's equally terrifying. It's just in a different way. So when you have a physical threat coming at you, that's terrifying. But then also when you have people who have power over you, or simply people who don't even do proper investigations, or they start doing things where you think evidence was tampered with, I mean, that's just a whole different level of like fear, because they have a whole different set of ways that they can interfere with your life. So that's equally terrifying. But again, even with those various different experiences, I do try to approach every person that I deal with on a fair one-on-one basis. And just because maybe I dealt with like one corrupt police department, I'm not going to assume that all police departments are that way. So I try to approach everything with an open mind. Having said that too, in this interaction, a lot of people tend to, I think they're attributing a lot of Sonya Massey's behaviors to schizophrenia, because her family has come out and said that she had symptoms that were like paranoid schizophrenia. Now, I don't know if they actually confirmed that she did have a diagnosis of schizophrenia, but I will say, watching the tapes, I wasn't getting really any inclinations just that she had schizophrenia in this video. Now, it can be like a spectrum. So sometimes you're not going to see a full set of symptoms on somebody, depending on, where they're at with their symptoms at that moment in time. But I definitely didn't peg her as like, oh, I see schizophrenia symptoms right there. What I noticed, and this is my theory, is that I think she was preoccupied about the black car that was parked in her driveway. And as you watch or rewatch this video with me, please try to keep that in mind and see if maybe this isn't making sense to you as well. Because what I'm seeing is, I think every time the police officers bring up this black car, she's having symptoms that we're not necessarily understanding. And I honestly do think that she's afraid that she might get in trouble about something with this car in the driveway. Whenever, from her perspective, she was calling because she was afraid about a prowler. And I think in her mind, she just wants to stick to the situation about the prowler. And potentially she might be seeking some help for mental health issues. But I think she wants to stay focused on that. And then I think the police officers are getting preoccupied with the black car in the driveway, which I understand why. They have a call about a prowler, and now there's a car in the driveway with a busted window. So I see why they're concerned about that. But I think that set of circumstances just set up a lot of what people are seeing as these strange interactions on Sonya Massey's part. So as you watch this with me, I'll give more commentary on that. I'm going to go ahead and get into the video now. There are some places where the audio is kind of like mumbled because I'm talking as the police are talking. I noticed that I put some subtitles in there if I felt that what I was saying was really important. Otherwise, I noticed it while it was happening. And so I would stop and pause and repeat myself. So if you don't hear something, just know that there'll be a subtitle for it or I'll repeat myself. Otherwise, it just honestly wasn't that important of a point. So don't feel like you missed anything. Having said that, let's go ahead and take a look at these body cam videos. Okay, so yes, there is definitely a trigger warning with this. This is some very hard content to watch. Okay, this is the body cam footage 1. I'm going to refer this as his partner. So the shooter is Sean Grayson, and this footage is from his partner right here, who actually had his body cam on, despite the fact that Sean Grayson did not have his body cam on. I do wonder, I mean, I guess this is police protocol, which is kudos to this guy for actually having his body cam on. I don't know why Sean Grayson didn't, unless he knew that he was doing things that he shouldn't have been doing. I also wonder, too, if maybe this police officer didn't always have Grayson. I definitely wonder if the police department had their concerns about Sean Grayson. But here, I actually do think it's a little reassuring that they actually showed up and they looked for a prowler. It does seem like Sonya was known to the community. Maybe these officers were aware that she had mental health issues. Maybe they weren't. But I do think it's good that they took her call seriously and that they are walking around. Now, when it comes to my black car theory, so you're going to see there's a black car in the driveway and it has a broken window. Now, there's another clip that I can play at the end of this that I found in one video that says the day before, I believe it was the day before, Sonya reported that a neighbor threw a brick at her. And at some point, Sonya broke a window trying to get into her own car. And so my theory is that something happened with the black car in the driveway. And I believe that every time the police officers are bringing it up, Sonya is just getting more and more nervous that she's going to get in trouble about something that happened with this car the day before. And that's where I think a lot of maybe misunderstandings or maybe behaviors that the police officers might have interpreted as odd. I think maybe that's, a lot of what's going on is that Sonya is just preoccupied about not getting in trouble about this black car in her driveway. Also, I don't know what the sounds are in the background. I don't know if that's gunshots or fireworks, but it is around the 4th of July, so you would tend to think that that's fireworks. But depending on where you live, it could be either or. I believe the part where they discover the car in the driveway is coming up. Yeah, there it is. And you'll see there's a broken window. And the police officers honestly are concerned about that. And you have to think, if she reported that there was a prowler and then they come to her house and they see this car in the driveway with a broken window, they may honestly be thinking like, oh, maybe somebody was trying to break into the car. So I do understand why the officers asked about it. And I also understand it's just an unfortunate situation. I think Sonya was concerned that she was going to get in trouble about the car. It's purely speculative on my part. That's just my thinking, but please try to notice throughout this video, every time they mention the car, I think Sonya starts to get nervous and has these behaviors that other people I think are mistaking for her mental health issues. I think she's just nervous about the car. Okay. See, and here, this is what I'm going to talk about with tone. Even just something as simple as knocking on the door can really set a tone. And the way this officer is knocking on the door is a nice, normal knock. I don't know how police officers are trained. I don't know why they do that cop knock, even when they're coming to help you and they come and bang on your door. But honestly, that scares people. Like if you call the police officers for help, you don't say, listen, that's such a nice knock. Like you don't expect them to come to your door when they're trying to help you and be like, bang, bang, bang. That's alarming. And that's jarring for a lot of people, much less people with mental health issues.
On the back door. I don't know if it's hers. love tap it.
And he just said, don't love tap it. Bang, bang, bang. And that's the difference between the partner and him. Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking over it. But Sean Grayson just said search warrant. After he did the knock like that, he said search warrant. And he was just joking. But even he associated the way he was knocking with how he would observe search warrant. Which that's not what they're there for. She's not a criminal. They're just there to help her. So
You'll try and call her 17 back there and let her know we're out front.
You know, and so you could even do something like that. If they can call the dispatcher to let her know they're there, you don't really have to do that knock. Again, you know, that's a small thing. That's a nuanced thing, but it really does set the tone.
I hear the phone ringing.
Again, with that, like, loud knocking. You have to figure, like, she's inside, too, so she might hear that loud banging, and she might be wondering if it's a prowler.
No, not when I came in. I didn't see anybody that lady. I hear her phone ringing, and she's refusing to come to the door, so we're about to go tonight.
Even that right there, he said she's refusing to come to the door. But why would you choose to believe that as opposed to she was calling about a prowler? How do you know the prowler didn't get inside her house? So, you know, like it is midnight too. Who knows when she called? She may have called. It may have taken them a while to get there. She maybe fell asleep or something.
Sheriff's office!
See, she's yelling right there, but she may have been trying to scare off a prowler. Like, what do you want? Like, thinking that that's a prowler. I don't blame her for that.
Oh, no, it's right here. Put the drugs out.
Does he think right there, put the drugs out? Like, he thinks maybe she is smoking like marijuana or something, and she's putting her drugs out? You know, it is something that happens. Like, a lot of times people with mental health issues,
inside. Hold on.
they won't call the police.
You come in the door or not?
They're afraid of getting in trouble for something like smoking weed.
Right. Hurry up.
Their medical marijuana cards. Seeing right there, that was just confrontational, the way he's yelling at her. Like, are you coming or not? That's confrontational. Again, you're there to help her. Hurry up. You're there to help her, so you might not necessarily need to use that tone. And too, because it's like, you don't know if this is someone with mental health issues or not. So I would want to think that you would want to set the best tone possible because you don't know who you're dealing with. And that's what's,
Sheriff's office, the one you called.
Just so stressful about being a police officer, at least on my unit. Yeah, I didn't have security, but I knew the diagnosis and the symptoms of the people.
Oh, we heard you. You called us.
Okay.
So what'd you hear?
Somebody keeps outside my house, y'all.
Is this your car over here?
Please, God, please, God, please.
Is this your car over here? Oh.
Okay. See, so even right there, she answered the door and she was like, please don't hurt me. Please don't hurt me. So she already has fears about the police and she's already expressing that. So the police officer should know that, okay, this is somebody who's clearly afraid of us, you know? So she's like, please don't hurt me. Please don't hurt me. And then, like, things are going okay, but just notice, he just asked her about the car. As soon as he asked her about the car, she started saying, please, God, please, God, please, God. I think she's worried about getting in trouble about something for the car. I think she's thinking, I called them about a prowler, but now they're, like, getting nosy about this car, and I'm just really nervous about getting in trouble about this car. But I also understand from the police perspective, like, you know, she called about a prowler. There's a broken window on the car, so you're going to want to investigate that. But this is honestly something, too, where I learned a lesson, because when you are dealing with somebody with mental health issues, maybe just deal with what they are reporting to you and help them with that. And if there are other things, like, you know, you could point it out. Like you could have said, you know, there's a broken window in the car. Are you aware of that? Is that something you're concerned with right now? And if she says, you know what, no, I really don't want to discuss the car right now, then maybe just stick with the issue at hand. Now, that's like a huge gray area because I do understand that the police honestly were doing a good job in trying to figure out what was going on with this car and trying to, you know, make sure that she's safe, that there's not someone trying to break into her car. But I'm looking at this from her perspective, and it's just honestly my gut feeling. I think she's just worried that she's going to get in trouble about this car. And I think it's causing problems here from like the get-go when she's like, you know, just look for the prowler. If the prowler's not here, please just leave. And they keep asking about the car.
That's not your black car in the driveway?
Mm-mm.
Oh, well, we checked your yard. We walked around the whole block. We didn't see anybody.
Mm-mm.
Right? You know, we don't. I mean, we checked the whole area. There's nobody out walking around.
I know, y'all. Please, God, please, God. I'm trying to get help, y'all, but
What do you need help with?
nothing. I just, please, God, please, God, please. I don't know what to do.
Doing with what?
Huh?
What do you need help with?
Nothing. I just wanted to see if y'all could help me.
What do you want help with?
Huh?
What do you want help with?
I heard somebody outside.
Yeah, we checked your house. We checked your backyard. I walked all the way through all these backyards. We checked your front yard.
We didn't see nobody.
Yeah,
So
nobody's out here.
See, things got confusing there for a second, but then, like, even if she was confused, like, I don't blame her. It's like after midnight. Who knows if she was trying to sleep? Who knows if she has night medication that she's taken? If she actually has been diagnosed with schizophrenia, she most likely has medications that are in the drug class called antipsychotics. I kind of hate using the terms like schizophrenia and antipsychotics because people get so afraid of that. But honestly, like an antipsychotic is just something that brings down dopamine in your brain. People with schizophrenia are believed to have, and the research is showing that they have just too much dopamine in certain areas of the brain. Yes, there's other factors, but you know, it's very stigmatized. But the fact of the matter is that if that is what she has, it's schizophrenia. Most likely she takes an antipsychotic. They are extremely sedating. So if she had night medicine, honestly, even if she took a Benadryl or she took a Tylenol PM or she drank some sleepy tea, like after midnight, that can really knock you out. Like, I don't know what her schedule was, but she may have just been very tired. But eventually she brings this back to the point of why she called. Yeah, I called you about the prowler. And they're like, well, okay. So now they're back on track and moving forward from here. They're going over like that they looked around for the prowler. And I really wish it just would have ended here. And unfortunately, it didn't.
You didn't see anybody?
Nope.
nope.
Oh,
Checked the whole area.
See, I wish it would have just
It took
ended
you so
here.
long to answer the door.
I was trying to put on.
So even that, like just that little, what took you so long to answer the door? So there's different ways of asking questions so that you can get the information that you need. So he could have reframed that to say, you know, you called us about a prowler, and when we got here, it took you a while to get to the door. We just want to make sure that you're safe, and we want to make sure that the prowler didn't get in your house, that like right now you're not in any danger, because we did notice that it took you a minute to get to the door, and you know, we just really want to be sure that you're safe before we leave. So that's just a different way that you could have asked that question instead of just being like, what took you so long? You know what I mean? So that's another thing here. It's just a small nuance, but those things add up. And people think people with mental health issues don't notice these things. A lot of times people with mental health issues just let these things go because they're not in a position of power. And, you know, they really don't have any choice but to let it go. There are other choices to be assertive, become supposedly combative, and then maybe end up in a bad situation. But I do believe that she's noticing all these little things that he might be doing that are kind of not the greatest tone. I do think she's noticing these things. I also think with her scrolling on the phone, that might be a nervous habit. And, you know, and you could say some of these things are like schizophrenia symptoms. They're not like very acute schizophrenia symptoms, in my opinion. Or, you know, you could just look at this as somebody who's up late at night, who's maybe taken some medication and is just very groggy.
I'm close, sir. I'm sorry. I was trying to get.
I got you. All right. Is there anything else we can do for you?
Huh?
Is there anything else I can do for you?
No, sir.
Yeah,
Okay.
right there. See, that's another one. He just added to the list. Is there anything else I can do for you? That's an ignorant thing to do. And he just did it right to her face, but he's thinking like, oh, she's confused or whatever. So I can go ahead and act a certain way and she's not going to say anything about it. So, just that right there, like, again, a seemingly small thing, but they're starting to add up.
Okay. All right.
You doing all right mentally?
Yes.
Sure.
My medicine stuff.
All right.
I love y'all. Thank y'all.
And she just
All
said right
right.
there
That's
too,
not
I
your
took my
black card,
medicine, sir.
The SUV? Whose is it?
It does make me wonder if she had taken some night medication.
You don't know? Someone just parked
See-
it in your driveway?
They brought it to my driveway.
Right here, I think people are
You
thinking
just
she
left
was
it?
confused. I think she just deliberately does not want to talk about the SUV or whatever it is in the black car in the driveway.
Somebody else.
David Mary
So now they're
43556.
asking her more questions and they're looking at the car and I'm wondering if she's getting nervous.
Take your name real quick. Catch this. See who we spoke to.
And right now, I think they're on the phone. I don't know, but I think maybe they're trying to get in touch with, maybe she called like a crisis line or a crisis worker and they're trying to figure out who she talks to. I just don't know why they moved into the house. Again, it's a situational awareness thing. I don't know how the police are trained, but right now, like at that moment, everyone was safe. Everyone was outside and that was like a safe situation. Well, minus if there were gunshots, and I could see why they moved into the house, but I think they're fireworks. I don't know. But anyway, they were outside, which was a seemingly safe location, and it seems like we just moved into a location that is less safe.
Hello? Yeah, I need, I got the sheriff department here, but I was calling for help from y'all.
Okay, so on another video, a lawyer pointed out that they did enter her home. It seems like voluntarily. I really wish we could have seen the exchange of how they ended up in the house, who suggested it. But now they're in the house, and a lawyer said that this partner really had no business kind of going in and looking around the house with his flashlight, that it's kind of like a minor like search type deal, like he's looking around the house. So me personally, as far as I'm concerned, they just went from like a safe situation to a less safe situation. And so me, if I was like moving into somebody's home, I can guarantee you that I would be looking around because I would be searching, not so much, to see if they had like marijuana or anything like that. I would just be checking to see like, hey, are there any dangers present here that I need to be aware of? Or like, if I walked into somebody's home and I saw like a knife was laying there because maybe they were just cutting up some vegetables, I probably wouldn't direct the person to go stand over by where they were just cutting vegetables and there was a knife. Now, yes, that's an innocent thing, but you never know how things goes. Obviously, we know how this ends. You never know how things go. So you always want to keep people away from the danger and you always want to keep people in the more safe situation. So, and also at this point, she's on the phone with someone. I don't know when she actually disconnected with the person on the phone, but I do believe that she's very nervous because she's asking the person to stay on the phone. Like, if you notice, she's like, no, just wait. And what's she going to say if she's like afraid that the police are in her home? She's not going to sit there and say like, no, please wait. I'm afraid. Just wait until the cops leave because I'm a little bit nervous that they're here. She's not going to say that in front of the cops. You know what I mean? I mean, you can, but you know what I mean? Again, she's probably afraid of asserting herself because she's not the one with the power in this situation. She's not the one with any kind of authority in this situation. I think she's just scared, but she does ask this person to stay on the phone. And I'm not sure how long they actually did stay on the phone. I wish they stayed on the phone longer.
Okay, are you there with me?
They're here in my house right now.
Okay, I'll let you go. You talk to them.
No, hold on. Wait a second, sir.
Yeesh, no, don't go.
You're with the deputy, correct?
No, hold on, okay?
You can hang
Hold
up.
on for what?
Just 1 second, okay?
See, people are thinking she's acting confused. I think she's not trying to say that she's scared. She's kind of being a little cryptic, but because I think she just doesn't want to say I'm scared right now.
I got some paperwork. Can you grab that Bible, please?
This is a Syrian
Yeah, I just need
speculation
your
on my
name
part.
so we can get out of here. Was there any damage previous to your car?
Previous, yeah, it
Okay,
was.
what was the damage?
See, they're talking about the car again.
What about windows?
Oh, it was something that happened earlier.
Okay, perfect. What is your last name?
Uh,
Shouldn't have to think about.
See, and like right here, like I think because maybe they were talking about the car now, I think she might be thinking like, oh, if I give them my name and stuff, maybe I'm going to get in trouble. But if you'll notice here, like he kind of makes another snide remark. And again, these things are adding up. Shouldn't have to think about that. Shouldn't have to think about your last name. Like I think she's very aware of these little snide remarks that he's saying. And I think he's thinking they're going over her head. And I don't believe that they are. Again, I think she's preoccupied with getting in trouble about this car. And if you'll notice in this exchange, as soon as he says, you're not going to get in trouble, I'm not trying to get you in trouble, she gives her last name immediately because I think that's her fear. And once he says that, he alleviates the fear. So she easily just gives the name. I think that caused so many problems here, honestly.
Last name. You're not in trouble. I just need to attach.
Massey.
Huh?
Massey.
See?
Do you have an idea? That makes it so much easier.
And then like
I just need to
I
just
don't
drive license
understand.
will do, and I'll get out of your hair.
Gave her name,
I want to show y'all my paperwork.
and now they're directing
What?
her to get her
What
license, which
I got some
no,
paperwork.
Well, just get your ID.
about that. It's late at night, so I just, it's just starting to be a little bit much, especially if you've got someone with mental health issues. Especially, I don't know if she took her medication, but if she did, even if not, it's after midnight. I'm sure she's groggy. She was afraid. She thought there was a prowler. So now you've given her one task to find her identification, which I don't even know that she needed to do in that circumstance. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with asking for it, but in this circumstance, like maybe I just would have taken the name and like been on my way. But again, I don't know how police are trained, but she's preoccupied with getting the paperwork. The police, now they're preoccupied with her and they have their own agenda of trying to get this license now. So now things are just, those things can get overwhelming for someone with like mental health issues. You have two tasks that she's trying to accomplish right now.
Let's get your ID first and then.
One task at a time here.
Okay. Let me
Here, grab your ID for me.
Hold on. Okay.
Your ID. One task at a time. So let's do an ID, and then you can dig around for your paperwork.
I don't know where my ID is.
You
Just in that stack right there, maybe.
1 second.
check on her.
Let me look at
See,
this.
like he made that hand gesture and she noticed it. You know what I mean? Like he's like pointing to something, and now we see the hot water on the stove. Now, this here to me, I just kind of have issues with this. So they've already moved from a situation where it seemed like it was safe into a less safe situation. Now, again, there are noises outside. So the police there would have been a better judge of whether those were fireworks or gunshots or not. I don't know. If they were gunshots, then yeah, I can see why they moved inside the house. If not, then they probably should have stayed outside. But anyway, they were safe while they were on the couch. Like nothing going on, nothing alarming or concerning about the situation at all. But now they're in a safe situation by the couch, and he's just identified what I would consider like a threat. I would be like, okay, there's a danger. There's fire, and then there's boiling water. So those are two dangers right there. So what I'm not going to do, okay, what I'm going to try to prevent, the person I'm with from doing is going near the danger. To me, this is like pointing out, oh, hey, there's a loaded gun over there. Like, why don't you go put your loaded gun away? Like, that's so stupid. Like, you would never do that. You would never be like, oh, I identify a threat. Like, oh, please go get your loaded gun and take it away. Like, you would never do that. And so for people who are arguing, well, oh, a boiling hot pot of water is not the equivalent of a loaded gun. Well, clearly it was treated equivalently in Sean Grayson's eyes. I mean, it was just all the same because he shot her all the same. He shot her as if she was holding a loaded gun. So yes, they are equivalent in this situation. So no, he never should have let her get near that pot of water. If that was something he was going to consider as a threat, then he should have never let her near it. Now, it is her home. So it would have been like confrontational to just be like, no, I'm not going to let you at your own stove. You know what I mean? That would have been confrontational. Again, that's a communication issue. There's a better way to do that. You could have said, oh, ma'am, I noticed that your stove is on, the water's boiling. I just, can we just turn that off? Like, would you mind if I turned that off? I just want to keep everything safe here. And I want to know that your stove isn't on when we leave in case you just, are distracted and you don't turn it off. Do you mind if we turn off your stove? That's how I would have presented it. And I would have presented it as doing it for her own safety, to continue to assure her that they were there for her safety. Now, it is her home. So if she wanted to go get the pot of water, that would have been completely fine. But at that point in time, what I would have done is start backing up. you know, and I would have said to her, ma'am, please don't be insulted, but I'm just like, you know, I've been trained in going in people's homes and I've been trained to look for danger. And I just, while you're pouring out the hot water, why don't you do that? We're just going to stand over here by the door so that everyone stays nice and safe. Like we're not threatened by you, but please, this is just protocol. We're just trying to keep everyone here as safe as possible. There's just ways of like doing things and reframing things that are just better ways to communicate. But some other things that I just want to point out here, go ahead and change the view. So if you notice this blue bucket that's on the floor, that is full of water, and you will see it as the footage goes on. Now, there are some people who are speculating that there's more water on the floor than was actually in the pot, because that blue bin is actually full of water. And like I said, you'll see that later in the footage. Also, if you will notice later, so when she gets to the stove, it sounds to me like she's dumping out some of the water. Now, maybe that was just her turning on the faucet. To me, it sounds like she's dumping out some of the water. And if you look in the left sink bin, there's an actual plastic bin in there that has like a floating dish scrubber in it. And there's water in there. And I'm wondering if she dumped out some of the water from the pot into the sink. You know, I'm wondering too, like maybe if her like water heater is broken right now or something, so she's boiling water on the stove so that she can do her dishes. I've done that before. Or maybe she's like just going to make some soup. Like I'm not really sure why she's like boiling the water, but you know, it is just kind of a curiosity, but it is a possibility that she was boiling it so that she could do her dishes. And you can clearly see later in the footage that there is water in the left sink bin. So those are just some things that I noticed. But tell me too, like I think it sounds like she's dumping water in the sink.
We don't need a fire while we're here.
Right.
See, he's pointing out a danger, and then he's letting her go to the dangerous situation. And point out here.
Where you going?
Huh?
Where you going?
Away from your hot steaming water.
See, like I don't understand this, because they're clearly like pointing out, like she's like, where are you going? Where are you going? And they're backing up, which is what they should be doing, you know, but there's a way to say it. They're like, we're going away from the hot steaming water. Like they could have said, like, you know, just don't take any offense, but you know, you do have some hot steaming water. We just like want to back up. Just, you know, it's just a safety measure. We're not threatened by you, ma'am. Please don't be insulted. And that's what I think the issue is here. I think when they're backing up from the water, joking about it, I think she's insulted. Like, she's sitting there thinking, like, I had no intentions of throwing hot water on you. Like, I wasn't even thinking about the hot water until 2 seconds ago when you pointed it out to me. Like, you know, I personally, again, I'm just speculating. I think she's insulted. And that's why she says, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. And there's another video where an attorney points out that maybe Sean Grayson got so offended because he didn't know what the word rebuked means. But I mean, even at that, like, I've just heard so many worse insults, and I'm sure as police officers, they've heard so many worse insults that I just don't understand why what she said set this man off so much. It's unbelievable. And one more thing, as you're going through this, you can see it better on the second body cam video, but actually when he pulls out his weapon, the pot of hot water is actually still sitting on the counter. When they pull out their weapons, there is a point in time when they're yelling at her to put down the pot, when she is literally not even holding the pot. It's pretty unbelievable. You can't really see it too good from this footage, but in the second one you can, and I'll try to slow that down and show that to you.
In the water?
Yeah.
Oh, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
Huh?
See, and the partner just turned his back to her. Like, he's not thinking that this is a dangerous situation, because if he thought it was dangerous that she had the hot water, he wouldn't have turned her back on her and went and looked in the room. Like, this isn't somebody who's alarmed by what they're seeing. You know, he's just kind of like, whatever. It's just, you know, it's just Sean Grayson who just escalated things like out of nowhere.
You
better fucking not. I swear to God, I'll fucking shoot you right in your fucking face.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Drop the fucking top! The fucking drop!
Okay, so he's screaming at her, I'll shoot you in the face. So those red things that were in her hand were the pot holders. And at this point in time, I don't think you can see in this video, but the pot should still be on the counter from the other videos that I watched. So at this point in time, she's cowering on the floor and does not have the pot in her hands. And they're yelling at her to drop a pot that she doesn't even have. And then there was also another video that I saw that said this is premeditation because the time frame of premeditation doesn't matter. So if you're planning this for days and then you kill somebody, that's premeditation. But also right here, he just said, I will shoot you in the face, which is very ego driven. You know, anyone who's ever been shooting or target shooting, like, you know, you don't shoot for the head, you shoot for the body because you have a better chance of hitting your target and you have a better chance of stopping someone. So, you know, well, I don't know how police officers are trained, but just like on a gun range, like I just know everyone's always been like, you just aim for the body. I think that's pretty standard. Even like, you know, amateur people with guns know that you shoot for the body, you don't shoot for the head. It seems very ego driven to be like, I'm going to shoot you in the face. That's very personal. So that's premeditation from what some other lawyers were saying, because he literally says, I'm going to shoot you in the face. And then he follows through with that action. So it's premeditation.
Drop the fucking pot! Drop the fucking pot!
19 shots fired.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Okay, so I had trouble seeing it at first, but this here, if you can see where the office chair is, it looks like there's like an office chair right in here at the corner of the counter. That's where you can see steam coming from the water that landed on the chair and that's now landed on the floor. So this could have easily been avoided by just stepping backwards, or honestly, you could just put your arms up in front of your face. And, you know, I think some people maybe might have some like issues with me on this where they're just saying, well, you know, no one's going to take like hot water to the face. So you know what? Actions have consequences. And, so I can honestly tell you that on my unit, this is just a little side note, but so on my unit, I had somebody who joked around once because I was constantly having tea with someone who was, when she was very symptomatic, I would just say to her, hey, do you want to go have some tea? And I would make her some tea. And one day another gentleman, you know, who would become more symptomatic and he'd have these rage episodes. But one day, you know, he saw that I was getting tea for her and he joked, which, you know, that's another thing that you learn when you're in psych. Like, you know, sometimes jokes, there's like half truths in there, but he joked and he said, well, you never have tea with me. And I said, you know what, you're right. So I was like, why don't we start having tea together? So we started having tea together. And for whatever reason, I was making him some hot tea because that's what I did with her. And it was okay because when we started off doing it, I was making him hot tea whenever he wasn't escalated. But then he started having these just episodes of like rage on the unit. And he was really terrifying, or, you know, terrorizing the unit. And when it would happen, one of the things that would distract him was if I said, hey, do you want to go get some tea? And for whatever reason, he would just come down and have tea with me. And the crazy thing is that because I had been giving him hot tea the whole time, I continued to give him hot tea even when he was very clearly escalated. Now, he was calm when he would come down and sit with me, but he was still very symptomatic. That was a mistake on my part. And if he had thrown that hot water in my face, that would have been my fault. I wouldn't have turned back around and tried to get him 302'd or tried to say, you know, he assaulted me with hot water. I would have accepted the consequences for that. And I truly would have, because that was a major error in judgment on my part. And, you know, that's just something I would have owned up to it. And, you know, granted, there's going to be a big difference between hot water heated up in a microwave and boiling hot water. But at the same time, you know, if you make stupid judgment calls and you're the one who's in authority, you're the one, you know, making the judgment calls, you have to accept the consequences. You know, yes, there are gray areas, there are limitations to that. But, you know, in this case, he's like making such a big deal that he would have gotten hit with hot water. He put himself in that situation. He literally, like, there were numerous things he could have done just to completely avoid that situation.
Drop the fucking pot! Bring EMS now. We got a headshot wound to the female. Headshot wound to the female. 1078.
So here they should be taking life-saving measures.
Fuck.
If they have their guns out, then that means
I was on.
they're afraid that she's still alive.
I'm gonna go get my kit.
I'm on. There's go get a hit.
You can go get it, but that's a headshot. God damn it.
God, fuck.
See, there were just like a few things that happened right there. First, he said, I was on. The partner says, I was on. And I think he was talking about his body cam being like, oh, you know, don't worry, my body cam was on, which honestly probably worried Grayson at that moment because he was probably like, oh shit, he just got this all on tape. Then after that, that's when the partner said, I'm going to go get my medical kit. And Grayson said, no, don't do it. Doesn't make sense. Like you're always going to take life-saving measures if you think the person might still be alive. And if you don't think she's still alive, why do you still have your guns drawn? The only reason you're still going to have your guns drawn is if you think there's a chance that she's still alive and might pop back up and, you know, I guess throw an empty pot at you. But at this point, they're not, for as far as I know from their backgrounds, they're not medical professionals. So maybe it depends on state. I don't know, but it's my understanding that you have an obligation to continue life-saving measures until someone like a coroner or a doctor shows up and pronounces the person dead. But I don't believe that police officers have the authority to do that. So you continue to take life-saving measures, even if you're fairly confident the person is dead. But the crazy thing about this situation too is like, look how much time passes, and then we find out horrifically, not horrifically that she's still alive, just horrifically that she's laying on the floor and they're not giving her medical aid. Like horrifically, she is still alive and they're not giving her medical attention. And you never know. I mean, people survive some really crazy things. So, you know, just the fact that they didn't immediately administer aid, you don't know. Maybe that was a factor in, you know, maybe the actual injuries aren't what were fatal to her. It may have been the blood loss that was fatal, and there may be a possibility if they had gotten to her sooner, they could have prevented some of that blood loss.
Yeah, I'm not taking fucking boiling water in the fucking head. And look, it fucking came right to our feet too. God
Crimea River. Crimea River.
God damn it.
You good?
I'm good. You good?
Almost
Yeah,
got
I'm good.
splashed with some hot water.
Let her fucking just. God, is that what you do, man?
Fuck.
He already sat there, let her just bleed out. No, you apply pressure to the wound.
You
That's
good?
crazy. Let her just. You're not a doctor.
Well, I mean, you know, what else do we do?
There was so many different
I'm
things you
not
could have
taking
done,
hot
dude.
boiling water to the fucking face, and it already reached us.
Just go like this. Duck behind the counter. Walk backwards.
They got a 52 en route?
Yeah.
I've never seen something escalate so fast with such horrible consequences. And I hope to God I never see anything like this again.
I'll go get my med kit.
Go get, yeah, hurry, get your med kit.
I mean, there's not much we can do.
We can at least try and stop the blood.
I know, right? Yes, that's the correct response. See there? There's water in the sink. So I don't know that someone will dump that water in the sink. There you can see some water on the floor. I don't know that it's going to come from that bucket. Aww. And this is the messed up part too. So the other guy shoots her in the face, and now his partner is dealing with the trauma of putting pressure on the wound and trying to stop the blood, holding her head in his hands. And at some point, he actually starts looking for the exit wound from the bullet on her head. So this man is dealing with the trauma that the other man created. And he's literally hearing that she's still breathing. And I think it's haunting that you can still hear the running water in the background when she just turned on that faucet.
Where's he at?
What, a minute and a half ago? And it's still running. Like, it's haunting to hear that spigot running.
She's still gasping a little bit.
We got an EMS coming.
You want to hand me another rag up there? Up there, to your right. Right there.
Anything you can do before? No. All right. I'm not even gonna waste my med stuff then.
Yeah, that's the point where he says I'm not even gonna waste my med stuff.
Nope, not yet.
Unreal.
House is clear. She was the only one.
Where's the gun?
No, she had boiling water and came at me.
Where's the
Boiling
gun?
water.
You shot her?
Yeah.
No,
She said she was going to rebuke me in the name of Jesus and came out with boiling water. That's what all this is.
My
I'm standing
God.
right here.
All right.
And that's where she's landed.
What do you need for a moment?
Just nothing right now. Just hang out.
I need
If you want to go ahead and exit
You
out of
still want me
here,
holding this pressure?
you can.
EMS
I basically said like
She's
everything
still
I had to say
gasping.
about the black car, and I gave most of my opinions about everything. There are some things I want to finish this out just because I do think there's some interesting differences in the way the partner, when he goes back to his car, in the trunk of his car, he sounds like he's trying to calm himself down because he sounds like he's on the verge of a little bit of a panic attack, or he's trying to calm himself down because he's just been through something traumatic. Then Sean Grayson, it seems like when he goes to his trunk, it seems like, to me, it just sounds like he's trying to cover his own ass. And I try not to do that because people do respond to traumatic situations differently. So I try not to critique that, but I just really don't like Sean Grayson. So I just don't mind saying that, I just think there's different things that he's doing that are implying he's trying to cover his own ass instead of just thinking about the fact that, I just shot this woman in the face. And again, that's just definitely my opinion, not really based on anything but my personal bias. But some of the rest of my opinions that I given in here were based on some of my experience. I'm not trying to give
She's still gasping a little bit.
medical professional opinion, but these are kind of just some opinions that I have based on
I think in the eye.
my work
I
experience.
think in the eye. I'm not for sure.
Find the blue blood pressure cup.
Don't move that if you can.
Copy.
And over here.
Where's she shot?
I think in the eye.
Okay.
That's where I've got the pressure
We
at.
have an extra one. That you can tell.
See, his partner
Not that I
is the
can
one
tell, no.
in her head for an exit
I can't feel one.
that Grayson caused. He's the one who's going to deal with that trauma of searching for an exit wound on her head.
Go ahead and have them short.
And I know this isn't about the trauma that the police officers experienced that day because they caused the trauma. They caused the trauma to Sonya and her family. But, I'm just watching the whole situation and giving my commentary.
Contact. You can't. Don't move that. You can't.
And I do believe that the community is aware of her because you'll hear in a second one of the EMS people says, "This is Sonya," and I believe it says we
I
were
need you guys
just
over
here, or we were here earlier.
We need that
So listen
backboard.
really closely to what this female EMS officer says, because it sounds like she says her name is Sonya. We were just here.
All right, go and get that down. Get it sit down, buckles out of the way.
In the kitchen
Please
right
don't think
now.
I'm rude by drinking water. I've seen this video a lot, and I am a medical professional, so I'm a little more desensitized to stuff like this. But I don't mean any disrespect by sitting here and drinking water.
Yeah, it's legit. That was the eye. She's still acting on breathing though. We'll get her on the backboard, get her in the back, get her. Please try not to move this bag.
Try to move that back. Okay. You should catch that. 20 I got some.
Try to hold that back. Yep.
It's in here.
All right.
Got your notes, that was there.
Have move this bucket behind you.
Yeah, you're fine. I can't feel an exit wound. I'm not sure. I haven't seen one either.
Okay. Don't move that back.
Do we know what caliber weapon she shot with?
9 mil.
9 mm.
Okay.
It's so awful, how long
All right, backboard, let's go.
Trying to grab it.
is there,
I was saying
dealing
just grab her, bring her up over
with the
the bullet.
consequences of what Grayson caused.
Yeah.
Do you need me out of your way?
Yeah.
Granted, I wouldn't have been happy if Grayson was holding her
Hey,
head.
Johnny, do we have any idea who she
Thought
is?
her.
We're trying to ID her.
I think her name is Sandra. I think we were out there earlier.
I was a caller.
See, it sounds like just as we were out there earlier today. I think the community knew her. And this is interesting to me. So look at this officer's reaction when he gets so drunk. But also, I just find it strange as far as his fellow police officers and stuff. Like, you know, granted, I don't know how these situations go, but no one's really approaching him like, are you okay? Now, you know, I do realize like men and mental health professionals, especially, they're probably going to deal with the situation differently. But I just think it should be mandatory if police officers are in this situation that they should have some type of crisis worker there, and it should be mandatory for the police officer to have to go talk to them. That way it's not even a choice, so they don't even have to try to put up a front like, no, I'm fine. It's like, it doesn't matter. You don't have a choice. Just come sit, talk with us. Let us try to calm down your body right now because you have a bunch of like cortisol, you have a bunch of adrenaline running through your system. Let us try to calm down your body. Let us give you some cold compresses. Let us help you to like slow down your breathing. See right here, he's just kind of like on his own trying to process this insane trauma that he just saw. So I do know a lot of people, you know, blame this officer for not doing more in this situation. I tend to have a lot of sympathy for him. I do think there are things that could have been done differently, but all in all, I think he tried to do the right thing throughout all of this. And, you know, I think that we've all worked with people who have escalated situations when they didn't need to be. It's a very tough situation to be in. I honestly, he had so very little time to react to what was happening. That escalated so unbelievably quick. I don't even think he was expecting it. When he pulled out his weapon, I think that he was just reverting to his training. I think he just had like no idea what the hell was going on.
Okay.
And when something like that happens, I think your brain just reverts to your training. And that's the whole point of doing training over and over and over again, is so that when you're in those situations where it's hard to think and you're in a crisis mode and you're in fight or flight mode, you revert to your training. That's the whole point of consistently doing training and memory training, muscle training. It's so that your body like subconsciously just acts a certain way in a crisis. And I tend to think that that's what he did. I do understand though, if people are upset maybe that I didn't do more, because obviously a woman paid with her life. So I do understand that, but I have sympathy for him. I think he acts humanely throughout this whole situation, aside from when he threw his gun. But I really think he was blindsided. I don't think he ever expected that. And I just find this reaction very strange. Like, where his fellow officers or someone just going up to him being like, are you okay? In just a second, I think you'll see Grayson walk up to him and ask him if he's okay.
Fuck, man. Fuck.
And then I feel like Grayson's really annoyed with the fact that he found out that he had his video footage on, or his camera on the whole time, because, you know, Grayson makes a point to be like, turn that off. You know what I mean? And that might be police protocol, not to talk about anything while you're on camera. So maybe that's why the police aren't asking him questions, because they don't want him to get himself into trouble. So maybe that is actually a courtesy.
I'm at my car.
But it does seem like a shame that this man is clearly having a moment in the trunk of his car and there's no one there to support him. And I hope he's gone on to get some help, you know, to at least talk about the situation. That's just not something that you should process on your own, you know. There's no shame. Like, PTSD, like, a lot of people have misconceptions about, like, PTSD and what can cause it. Like, it's really very driven by your hormones and cortisol, and a lot of it is just so biological. But I think we really do a poor job of explaining to people that it really is a biological response, and there's no shame if you end up with PTSD.
You good?
What's this? There, turn that off.
See? Turn that off. What a jerk. Okay, so this is the second body cam video. This is Grayson's body cam video. And I'll try to stop it at the right parts so that you can see when the gun's drawn, the bot's still on the counter. Oh, let me go back. Actually, let me change this whole thing up for this one. Okay, now we're back to body camera 2. Hopefully I can pause this at the right moments. See, look, she's got pot holders in her hands. Those red things are the pot holders. Look right there on the counter. The pot is on the counter. His gun is drawn and the pot is on the counter. She is cowering in fear with freaking pot holders in her hand, not the hot water. And they're screaming at her at this point in time, like the sound's not on. They're screaming at her to drop the pot. And she's probably thinking like, what the heck? You know, she seems like she's a religious person. She might not swear the way I do, but she's probably thinking like, what the heck? Why are they screaming at me to drop the pot? I don't have the pot. The pot is on the counter. Look, it's right there. It's right there. And they have their guns drawn on her for no reason. She's absolutely no threat to them whatsoever. She is cowering in fear with pot holders in her hands behind a countertop. Unbelievable. Look, pot still on the counter. And right here, his arm obstructs the view. So I don't know when she actually reached for the pot, but at this point in time, his gun is drawn on her. She did not have a weapon when his gun was drawn on her. So if she reached for the pot, that I have to believe that's nothing but self-defense. And he caused it. Oh, I just can't even. Oh, there. I feel like there's when he like threw the water at her, which... You know what I mean? Like, she had every right to defend herself, but unfortunately, when you defend yourself against a rogue police officer, you are not going to win. And see right there, I had missed this in the other videos, but you can clearly see like the steams coming off the floor, the steams clearly on the chair there. And, you know, if that almost hit this man in the face or hit this man anywhere, that's his own dang fault because, all he had to do was back up, literally. I've never seen anyone, like honestly, just on a unit, just escalate so fast over like nothing, much less with the consequences. I just can't even. And why would you? He had a gun.
I was on. I'm gonna go get my kit.
No, headshot, dude. She's done. You can go get it, but that's a headshot.
Like, why would you even say, like, you are not a medical professional. Like, people have survived headshots. Like, spoiler alert, it has happened. What people won't survive is bleeding out on the floor.
God damn it.
God, fuck.
Dude, I'm not taking fucking...
See, if you still have your guns drawn, you should only have your guns drawn if you think she's still alive and she's going to somehow pop back up and throw something at you. So if you think she's still alive, though, and she's on the floor bleeding out, then you need to go give her medical aid.
I'm boiling water to the fucking head. And look, it fucking came right to our feet, too. God damn it.
God damn it.
You good?
I'm good. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Holstered up. Let her fucking just...
Did you hear that? Let her just bleed out on the floor. That's literally, he caught himself, but I feel like that's literally what he was going to say. Just let her bleed out. Let her die. It's like, Jesus. Like, and I feel really bad too. I feel like that's very disrespectful. I'm sorry to like Sonya Massey because it seems like she was a religious person. And so I'm sorry. I've I've definitely thrown out some Jesuses and oh my God throughout here. And in her memory, honestly, like I mean no disrespect. But I can't believe this situation. And I'm trying to keep things like PC just because this is a YouTube video, but my God.
There's nothing we can do, man.
Fuck.
You good? All right. Fuck. Well, I mean, you know, what else do we do?
No, I
I'm
can't.
not taking hot boiling water to the fucking face, and it already reached us.
They got a 52 en route.
Yeah, 1078.
And all this time she's laying on the floor, like
318,
breathing
she's still
out.
breathing, but she's losing a lot of blood from the head.
Like they can tell she's still breathing,
I'll
and
leave
they're
my
not
med
getting
kit.
her.
Oh, yeah. Very good for that.
I mean, there's not much we can do. Fuck!
Look at the way he responds to getting to the trunk of his car versus like the other person. He was going to his car, and then he was going to the trunk. I don't even know if they came in the same car or whatever, but like he gets to the back of his car, and so he calls and asks if she basically has like a mental health history with the department.
318, do we got any call history with her being 1096?
So I saw another video that said a call history of her being 1096, basically meaning that she's been identified as having mental health issues. So right now he's acting as if he didn't know that she had mental health issues. But at the beginning of the video, he clearly says, "Is your mental health okay?" So he had his, suspicions.
I will explain why. Negative.
I think he's trying not to say stuff. I think he's like really just
She's
trying
in
to
the
cover his
kitchen.
own ass at this point. Which that's the difference. The other police officer's like trying to save her life. He was like immediately like, let's get the med kit. And then this guy's like, does she have like a mental health history? Because he's trying to cover that.
Just Sergeant, who, no. Let's just chill out here. Just Sarge right now.
Are you guys secure?
Yeah, we're secure.
Back covered?
No, it's just her in the house. She's 1096.
And again, I don't know how police usually respond to these circumstances. I just find it odd that like they're just kind of standing around. And I get it; they don't really know what happened. But
All right, I'm not even gonna waste my med stuff then.
I'm not even gonna
You wanna
waste
run down
my
real
dead
quick?
stuff on a woman I shot in the face
All right.
for no reason.
House is cleared. She was the only one.
Where's he going?
No, she had a boiling water and came at me with boiling water.
You shot her?
Yeah. She said she was going to rebuke me in the name of Jesus and came out with boiling water. That's what all this is. I was standing right here.
All right.
Shot her in
That's
the
where
face. Yeah,
she's landed.
crazy.
What do y'all need from us?
Just nothing right now. Just hang out there for me. Thank you.
I need crime scene taken around the house if you guys can. But other than that, that's I think it.
Anything else suspect?
Me.
Oh, I didn't know what happened.
See right there, like he's just letting everyone know I shot her. And
Yeah, I'm good.
I think
This
this is
fucking bitch.
interesting too. So this is kind of like an odd response. They just found out their buddy or their coworker just shot somebody, and like I just think this is an odd response. I really don't see people like supporting him. Again, maybe they are trained not to talk to people while they still have their body cams on so they don't like incriminate themselves. But like if this had been one of my coworkers and I didn't know what happened, I'd be like, oh my God, are you okay? Is your partner okay? Like I don't know. It's just speculation, but I'm almost like, have these people been waiting for something like this to happen? Like, did they suspect that this person just was, an accident waiting to happen? I'm not sure, but I did notice, I think when he walks out of the house, I believe there's one guy, I could be completely wrong about it, but it looks like this one guy just continually keeps turning his back and like walking away from him. And I'm wondering if that guy's just thinking, my God, he finally did it. And he's just disgusted. Again, that's just speculation. It could be just pure coincidence, but I'll try to point it out. Going back a little bit here to when he's coming out of the house.
Anything else suspect?
Me.
Oh, I didn't know what happened.
All these guys are probably just like, look, that guy right there, he's walking away.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm good. This fucking bitch is crazy.
Fucking bitch, you just shot someone in the face. I'm telling you, as a mental health professional, he really was not escalated or showing any symptoms. See, look, the officers were like walking away from him again.
I think I got a roll.
He like turns back and like the officers were like walking away. And then this guy gets taped to tape off his own murder scene.
You got enough? If not, I got a roll.
Which, like, how friggin' bizarre is that?
Yeah, there's no running across the front here. Where do you want it? I just around the house. You guys can go inside.
Okay. Grab the bottle.
Like, don't you think maybe one of his buddies would have been like, dude, you just shot someone, let us do this for you, like, hey, sit down or whatever. But instead they're just like, let him do his thing. Now again, people respond to traumatic situations differently, so I really try not to critique people's responses. But again, I just don't like that guy. So I'm just thinking that this very kind of like strangely skated onto his own murder scene. I'm not even sure, like, according to protocol, is that what you
Stuck in the
do?
garbage cans. Yeah.
Shouldn't they be letting somebody else do that? I don't know. But yeah, a lot of times after like crises and stuff, people do want to do like tasks and things because their brain just kind of wants to go into automatic mode, so they just want to start like doing things so that they don't have to think about what just happened. But you know,
He's good.
oh, that right there. See, that officer just asked about his partner.
That's my fault, man. I didn't know.
He wasn't asking him about him.
It fucking happened so goddamn quick that we didn't have time to fucking call shit out that it was me and. Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out.
Just call his partner dipshit.
No, we're
It was me
good.
and dipshit.
I think
Can you believe that?
set it up on purpose. So.
And then he just said that she set it up on purpose. So he's already trying to like set up these lies and cover his ass. Like the other police officer was clearly traumatized and couldn't even breathe. He was trying to calm himself down, and this guy's just
Try not to
sitting
move that
around
bag. We'll
trying
take her out on
to
the backboard.
keep
So you
in
don't have
his
to
head
back.
that it was her fault. And if it weren't for the body cam footage, you gotta consider the fact that he may have gotten away with
the
that.
whole thing. No. We barely got missed.
Barely missed by hot water.
How
tragic.
Hey guys, grab the backboard. We're flying on this one.
I'm gonna chill in my car. I'm gonna chill in my car for a minute.
I would love to know what kind of calls and texts you made after this.
I got it.
I guess they're saying now too, his fiance works at the hospital that Sonya Massey may have been at the day before, and his fiance like may have been at the hospital that night. As far as I know now, people aren't really sure about that, but that's also like another just kind of like interesting side note. Oh, I want to go ahead and play the clip here. This is the only video that I found where they mentioned the car, about Sonya reporting that a neighbor tried to hit her in the head with a brick, and that Sonya was trying to break into her own car, and that's why the window was broken. Let me go ahead and play that for you.
And then a day later, Sonya herself made another call, reporting on a neighbor who had hit her with a brick. However, a sheriff's deputy met her at the hospital since she had gone there to receive medical treatment after the call. She told the officer the same story about the neighbor and that she had also broken a window in an attempt to get into the car to get away.
Okay, so just with that clip right there, with something happening with the car the day before and the brick, that's why I'm really thinking that Sonya may have been preoccupied and thought maybe she would get in trouble about something with the car. Again, it's just my theory. And I mean, I can't even imagine anyone's even still watching because this was a very long video. But I hope that maybe I could provide people with some insights that maybe they weren't thinking about, or just give people a different perspective to think about. There were all indications that this man was just an accident waiting to happen. And I use the term accident lightly because, an accident is hardly the word to use in this situation. I mean, it was an execution. I mean, it was really just an execution. And, I looking at Sonya Massey, there was really nothing about her that would lead me to believe that she was having like acute symptoms at that time. I would have loved to have worked with her if I could have had like a whole entire unit full of the woman that I saw on this video. That would have been an absolute pleasure to work with. And so I'm very sad that she's not here. And I'm very sad that she didn't get the help that she needs. So that's it for now. See you in the next video.